Good East positioning of sun, everybody. The name's Wu Fang, and welcome to the TMNT live action movie rankings. But as you might see here from the title, I'm not alone. Would our special guests like to introduce themselves?
Hey guys, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn. I've been on this channel before, and I am a colossal TMNT fan. And so, when Blue Fang said you want to do a channel collab, I suggested let's rank the Ninja Turtles movies. But he hasn't seen all the animated ones, so we're doing just the live action ones
I
for this
haven't-
video.
Yeah, I'll admit, if it's just live action, and the only animated one I've seen, or two, is the one made by Imagi, which is the 13 Monsters, and Batman vs. TMNT. But we're not here to talk about those. That's for another video. Today we're here to talk about the live action movie rankings. And so without further ado, let's get into our number 5 worst movie, Turtles in Time.
Oh my god, there are so many bad decisions in this movie, and even ones that are such tiny bad ideas, but they all pile up into one colossal turd.
Like, as an example, why did you not go with the Jim Henson Company for the puppets? These are easily the worst puppets that the Turtles franchise has ever seen.
No, I've got to disagree. I would say that the Next Mutation puppets are somehow slightly worse, but this is a very close second.
I mean, worst that has made the cinema. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, then definitely. What is up with those spots even? Like, and their lips are like duck lips, honestly. I don't know, like, it's bad. And I will admit there is one advantage to these in that they had more flexibility and they could do more stunts with these. But that's it. That's the only good thing that came. And the Jim Henson puppets weren't even that bad with the stunts because they would just speed it up. And they had good stunt actors in them anyway.
Additionally, I know that it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so you gotta expect some form of goofiness, but when do we associate them with time travel?
I know. And, like, here's the thing. In Turtles Secret of the Ooze, they changed TCRI to TGRI because they didn't want to make it techno-cosmic. They made it techno-global. So you're too serious for it to simply be techno-cosmic, but time travel, oh no, that's perfectly realistic. We can include that. We can't just make it a C. They don't even say Techno-Global Institute like that. They just needed to call it TCRI. That was it. But that's too unrealistic. But time travel? No, that fits perfectly.
And a lot of butchered characters. I mean, just look at Casey Jones.
Basically,
what did they do to you?
Yeah, they basically butchered every turtle, but like, Splinter's puppeteering is probably the worst. He doesn't even leave a phone booth throughout the entire movie.
That's why we couldn't include him in this.
Yeah.
But anyways,
one other thing. What is up with that effing wig? As someone who has long brown hair, I know when it's an effing wig. Okay, that you're telling me that this is the same as in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? It is not. No, that is a bad wig, and it just, like, Casey doesn't even need to be in this movie. They just dragged him under because, like, they figured it might make the movie better. But no, this movie's just really bad, and there's not much new we can say about it. Everybody has crapped on this one.
So in other words, Turtles in Time is not only the worst live-action movies, I dare go as far to argue it's the worst of all the movies in general, and I think there's very few people who would try to fight.
Of all the movies.
Yeah, I think there's very, very few people who would fight me on that.
Oh, one other thing. Surprisingly, we have the exact same opinions on these 5 movies. I forgot to mention that.
I feel like we just think alike, so maybe the animated list, when that comes out eventually, will get similar.
If we ever do that.
But anyways, coming in at number 4, we have Secret of the Ooze.
Now, this movie is not bad, okay? Unlike Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, this is not a bad movie.
To put it into context, if we were making a tier list, this movie would be like 2 tiers above the other one. Okay. It's simply bad because it's good.
Okay. This movie isn't even bad. It's just, like, such a departure from the first movie. It's more of like they took an episode of the 80s cartoon and stretched it out into a movie.
I mean, yeah, I can absolutely see that. Speaking of the 80s cartoon, can we talk about our discount Bebop and Rocksteady?
Toka and Razor. Now, I know that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird hate the characters of Bebop and Rocksteady, but like, seriously, they hated them that bad they wouldn't let the movie use those 2 characters? Like, what the heck?
I'm sorry, but there's just some points where you got to acknowledge that some changes are made for the better.
Yeah. One of the changes that was not made for the better is the lack of Turtles' weapons in this movie, because Leo is trapped in a net. Like, how are we gonna get out of here when he has swords on his back?
You have the weapon most designated for cutting.
Yes.
Let me put this into perspective. If you're going to trap a turtle in the net, Leo is the worst option to do.
Yes.
At least if you do it with someone like Donnie, it makes sense because he only has
Donnie
a bow
and
staff.
Monkey were trapped in the net too, but Leo's like, how are we gonna get out of here? He has swords on his back. Like I said earlier, the TGRI change, that's weird. And then one other thing, he's not terrible, but the protagonist in this movie is not that good, okay? Like, April is the protagonist in the first movie, so just keep her the protagonist here and make the kid the new Casey, and he's the secondary protagonist.
I mean, I get that the kid was invited because he was a loved stunt double from the first movie, and no offense to the actor who played the kid at all.
No,
but
because he does a good job, and we don't hate him. He was an amazing stunt double for Donnie in the first
we're more
movie.
just hating the script around him that you got
that.
in.
And it's more of that we just would have preferred, like, just April be the main character because she works as it.
It's hard to not make Casey Jones comparisons with the kid.
But with all the bad we've said about this movie, there are still a lot of great things in it, such as the fact that it's a turtle-focused story and it's them wanting to know how they were created and everything.
I personally think that you absolutely knowing, like, they are it is mutants. It is in the title. That's what the M stands for. So wanting to know how you got created, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at all.
And this movie is still very funny. Like, I will laugh a lot during this movie. And the thing is this is probably the movie I watched the most as a kid.
Secret of the Ooze, it's goofier, but, like, it's 90s turtle goofy. It's not so goofy to the point where it takes you out of the experience, unlike a certain earlier entry.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that we've covered everything we need to for number 4, except for the fact that Shredder gets brought back just to literally die immediately.
He does nothing.
Yes, he becomes Super Shredder, and I do like the scene of him as Super Shredder and that he's too powerful, he kills himself. But still, like, I mean, there are other Turtles villains they could have used than just bringing back Shredder.
Yeah.
He was great in the first movie, he served his purpose.
And moving on to number 3, we have Out of the Shadows.
Okay. So, Out of the Shadows. I do think this movie is a smidge goofier than 2014. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just like that one's a little more serious than this one.
Agreed.
And that's something that sometimes takes me out of this one a little bit. Like, the jokes are just, like, they're trying a lot harder to make the joke funny.
Speaking of trying a lot harder, we finally got a good Bebop and Rocksteady theatrical debut.
Yes.
Took them long enough.
I know, but this movie is a lot closer to the source material because we get Bebop and Rocksteady, we get Krang, we get Casey Jones, we get a bunch of other stuff included into this movie. And, like, they listened to the complaints people had with 2014, and they included them here. Less of it about April and more about the Turtles. One other great thing that I think this movie does is this is a movie where Raph isn't the main turtle.
It feels so good to finally not have an arc that's centered around Raph, like, especially the emoji one.
I don't hate Raph. Like, I don't. Like, I'm fine with him being the main turtle in the movies, but, like, it's nice to have a break from it being they're always Raph and it's about him wanting to go off on his own, and it's just like there's only
it's
so
the
many
same
times
story
you
played
can
out
do
over
that
and over
until it gets a little boring.
And
so it was nice to have one movie where it's about Leo.
I know Shredder does nothing, but again, considering all the other characters, like Krang being brought into the story...
Yeah, and Bebop and Rocksteady.
I kind of think it makes up for it, and it's also nice to not have a movie where Shredder's the main villain.
Yeah. But, this movie still has a lot of great stuff for it. It's got jokes, it's got good action, the CGI is good, too. And, there's a lot about this movie that we like.
There's a lot about it that we like, and we're not saying that this is bad at all. We're just saying that our personal preference lines up with the other two movies far more.
Yes.
Speaking of the other two movies, coming in at number 2, we have TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014.
Before we start about this movie, I would like to clarify. The CGI in this movie is not bad. It is good. To the people that complain and say that the turtles are too big, look at the effing 2003 show right here, okay? This Turtles in the elevator, they look like you tried bringing the 03 show into live action. They're as big as those turtles. Nobody complains that the 03 turtles are huge, but when they're in live action, they're too big. It's just like, I'm sick of hearing that complaint. It's like, no, the CGI is actually really good in this movie.
I'm also going to add to your point. mutants in the title. I think he can be a little less human if
Yes.
you're a mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yes, okay, like if a turtle did mutate into a human-sized thing, no one knows what it would look like. So how do we know it wouldn't look like this?
Speaking of the elevator scene as shown in that image, that
Oh,
is
yeah.
just such a good improvised scene.
I know, that scene, okay, the turtles in this movie have the best chemistry out of all of the movies in live action, I think. So the fact that they actually improvised that elevator scene and came up with MC Mikey. Yeah, but anyway, that scene is like possibly the best scene in the entire movie, and it was improvised by these four guys.
Which I think the turtle chemistry kind of rubbed off onto these actors if that
yeah.
scene ended up popping out.
Yeah,
again,
I know, but
great
the
chemistry
turtles have
between the
amazing
turtles.
chemistry. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in Out of the Shadows, I don't know why, but Johnny Knoxville isn't brought back to voice Leo.
No!
Yeah, so anyway.
I also want to mention the action scene is pretty damn good.
Yes, this movie has great action. Say what you will about Michael Bay, but his movies have great action.
I will also point out, Michael Bay, as you pointed out to me earlier, he
Yes.
was just the producer, not the director.
These movies are associated with him, but all he did was produce. He didn't direct or write them. He's just a producer.
Meaning, in short terms, he just helped fund the movie.
Yes, but
that's all he did.
In other words, I think this movie is fun, and it's just like the turtles have amazing chemistry, and that's what makes the movie so good. However, if I had to have some issue, there are some issues with this movie. And one of them can be that at points it's a bit more of an April movie than a Turtles movie. And I don't think it's that bad. Some people think it's bad, but I honestly don't mind it because I think April's entertaining enough to watch in the movie. But yeah, so I will admit, like, sometimes it should be more of Turtles.
And speaking of the last movie on our list, but the first one overall, is TMNT 1990.
Yeah. What did you expect? No movie is ever going to beat this. No animated movie is going to beat this. Like, Mutant Mayhem is great, and people say it beat this. It did not beat this, okay? This movie took did the perfect blend by taking the goofiness of the cartoon and the hardcore seriousness of the comics and combined them into something that worked perfectly in the 1990s. And then they took that and they were like, this is too dark for kids, so yeah. But like, if you wanted, it was a one-time thing. This was the perfect blend of that dark and silliness.
If you want an example of the perfect dark blend and silliness, look no further than Casey Jones. He was finally done justice.
Yeah. I mean, he's not terrible in Out of the Shadows, but he's not, like, no, he's nowhere near this level.
Like, this is the best Casey Jones has ever been in.
Yeah.
And for their first time around, I gotta say there's some great action and story for the first time making a Turtles movie.
No, there already was great action, but this movie has an amazing story. Like, every character is entertaining to follow in this story. Like, even just that kid who's running away from his dad, and like, this is a good story about family, about like, this movie covers so many themes, and it does a great job at all of them somehow.
And the Jim Henson puppets.
Yeah.
Why did you let go of them in Turtles in Time?
I don't know, because those puppets are amazing. They still hold up to this day, honestly. Apart from one singular frame involving poor Donnie.
But again, if you have an entire movie and you can only find one mistake in one frame, that's a pretty damn good job that you did something right.
And to be honest, most people don't even know about that. So I'm not going to tell you where you can find it, because I don't want to ruin that movie for you.
Again,
and even then, it won't ruin the movie for you. It's just that one spot where you're going to see Nightmare.
If you're wondering, that's why we have Kermit, because the Jim Henson Company also made him.
Yeah. But anyway, this movie has humor, action, and a great story, and it's just a great movie. It's got a great villain. It's got a bunch of great stuff in it. And yeah, this is a great Ninja Turtles movie. I'm happy it came in first, because even though 2014 is probably my personal favorite, because like I've just seen it so many times and I love the chemistry between the turtles, I know to put this movie in first.
Because, objectively, this is better than 2014.
Yeah, it's objectively better than all of them.
But I will end this by saying what I usually do. Thank you all. I'm going to bid you a good West Virginia summer, everybody.
And cowabunga!